voting started on Wednesday, and one of these polling locations is the Howard Baker School. They'll be open for the last 4 days in the month of October, and I find out why they do this every election year.
Cigars are celebratory.
Cigars are flying off the shelves at local smoke shops for a long-time tradition. We'll take you behind the scenes. Thanks for joining us for Vol News. I'm Gray McNichol. Welcome to my favorite week of the year, Bama Hate Week. The third Saturday in October is only one more sleep away, and I, for one, cannot wait. Alexi Cowan joins us now. Alexi?
Yeah, great. I'm super excited. I'll be down on the field tomorrow covering all the action for you guys. But let me show you what happened last time Alabama was in Neyland Stadium from my lens. So now, if you avoid the guy in front of me with his hands to heaven, this last second field goal sealed the game, and chaos ensued. If you're a Tennessee fan, this is a moment etched into your brain forever. Why was this such a big win, and what are the odds we do it again? Stay tuned, and I'll give you everything you need to know going into tomorrow.
Thanks, Alexi. I remember that moment like it was a national holiday, but we have a huge national holiday coming up with Election Day right around the corner. There are 17 days until Election Day. Trust me, I counted them. Possibly one of the most historic events in modern U.S. history. Just Wednesday, early voting finally began. According to Secretary of State, over 176,000 people turned out on the first day of early voting across the state, with 13,000 in Knox County alone. And those lines certainly prove it. Records were broken in Georgia, one of the possible swing states, with nearly 500,000 people already casting their ballots in just the first 2 days of early voting. We've had multiple Vol News reporters on the ground to take a look at these lines across the county. Our Vol News election reporter Sydney Brackett joins us now. Sydney, what do those lines look like?
Well, they were pretty long, Greg. As you start to plan when you early vote, lines are something that you should consider. Early voting has opened up this week, and we have seen a record number of early voters in Georgia. Well, it is no different in Tennessee. Student Jocelyn Stevens will be early voting, but plans on waiting.
Yeah, I do plan to go early vote, but the lines are just too long this week, so I think I'm going to go next.
And for good reason. I'm here for the first day of early voting at the Downtown West location. And as you can see, these lines are long. Ever since 7:30 this morning, they've been about an hour and a half wait. Many, including Jane George, who's running for U.S. Congress in the 2nd District, are excited to see these record numbers.
So you're seeing America at its best in terms of people really coming to the polls to make a choice towards what they want America to look like.
During early voting, you do not have to go to your assigned polling place, and you have more opportunity to vote because you never know what could happen on Election Day.
Things come up in life, and so having early voting as an option prevents us from having to be dependent on that single day.
In Knoxville, I'm Sydney Brackett, Vol News. There are 12 polling sites across Knox County. They are open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. So go out and vote while you still have the chance.
Sydney, what do people need to bring to vote?
That's a great question. To vote in Tennessee, all you need is a form of valid ID at the door.
Thanks, Sydney. Any questions you have, you can email us at volnews@utk.edu. As we continue to cover this election, it's important to talk about the biggest issues that sway voters. A poll conducted by the Pew Research Center says one of the top issues this election is the economy. Our Kyla Berry spoke to students about what their biggest issues are.
Each presidential cycle, many issues will remain the same. Economy, healthcare, reproductive rights, and more. I spoke with Josh Dunn, the Director of American Civics, on why this might be the case.
It's not surprising to hear that those two issues have been expressed as significant concerns for UT students.
For first-time voter Preston Reeker, the economy is at the top of his concerns.
One of the issues for me, I'll go with everyone else, is economy. I feel like that's very important.
Ava Pizzarusso is feeling the effects.
Inflation is just so high, you know, especially living in New York. Prices are up. Like, I transferred here. I went to school in D.C. also. Prices are up there.
Something Dunn says will affect first-time voters the most.
They're going to be entering the workforce even sooner, and so these concerns about the economy are going to be even more pressing for them.
Causing a challenge after post-grad.
Have someone with a good, well-paying job, but still not be able to afford to buy a first house.
And he says most voters are retrospective.
It means they tend to reward or punish the party in power based on the past economic performance.
That division in American democracy is apparent to Reeker.
You're either A or you're B, and there's no in between, and people are looking at you differently for it.
Dunn says this division needs to come together for democracy.
Recognizing that perhaps some of our disagreements, even if we still disagree, are ones that we can live with each other over.
In Knoxville, Kyla Berry, Vol News.
Luckily, if you're a Knox County resident, you don't have to leave campus to cast your vote. The Baker School will be a polling location for students and faculty in the last week of October. Sadly, I'm from Williamson County, so I'm heading home to vote, but this seems really convenient.
Yeah, Gray, it really is. Ava Pizzarusso and Preston Reeker, the two students who told me their biggest issue was the economy, are going to the Pearls early to cast their votes. Here's their plans.
A 63-year-old tradition making its annual comeback this weekend.
They steal stuff from us, we steal stuff from them.
It began in 1961 after Alabama had been on a consistent losing streak. Their head trainer bet the team that if they beat Tennessee, he'd buy them all cigars.
I think he just continued to buy the players cigars for the Tennessee game. And then fans started seeing the players smoking it, and then on and on and on.
It's the third Saturday in October, the Tennessee versus Alabama rivalry.
If you ask anybody here, they're going to tell you it's the most important game of the season, just because it's the third Saturday in October.
While the teams started playing each other in 1901, the tradition came years later.
It was my whole time in the cigar business, only once.
In the past 20 years, the Vols have only lit their cigars 3 times.
The fans knew we were going to win. That's why they came out the way they did.
The most memorable when fans rushed the field 2 years ago.
It was just a mad rush to the field. I got thrown over the wall onto the field. I think I twisted my ankle a little bit.
I look back at 22 and we actually doubled our sales. Literally doubled our sales.
In 2022, Smokey sold a cigar that Coach Heupel smoked.
It was actually the Oliva V. Meliano Torpedo.
Smokey's watched to see what cigars were among the winners in 2022, making sure they were an option for fans when purchasing.
Coach Heupel, the cigar he smoked, the cigar Peyton smoked, the cigar Jalen Hyatt smoked.
All among the list of options this week.
But the question remains, who will be lighting their cigars this weekend? In Knoxville, I'm Grayson Thatcher, Vol News.
Things down for you.
Thanks, Gray. Good afternoon, Vols. I'm your weather anchor, Ansley Grayson, bringing you a game day forecast for this weekend. Kickoff time is set for 3:30 p.m. Saturday afternoon. Should be sunny with clear skies, and temperatures will start comfortably in the low 70s at game time, then fall into the low 40s towards the end of the game. Wishing our Vols the best of luck this weekend. We'll discuss the full weekend forecast later in the show. Back to you.
Thanks, Ansley. Like I mentioned earlier, tomorrow we take on Alabama, but one of the most popular traditions in all of college football will happen after the final score, when smoke from victory cigars will fill the air. Our Grayson Thatcher joins us now to deep dive into this rich history.
Well, Gray, you may have gotten yours already. Stores around Knoxville are seeing cigars fly off the shelves ahead of Saturday. Let's take a look.
A 63-year-old tradition making its annual comeback this weekend.
They steal stuff from us, we steal stuff from them.
It began in 1961 after Alabama had been on a consistent losing streak. Their head trainer bet the team that if they beat Tennessee, he'd buy them all cigars.
I think he just continued to buy the players cigars for the Tennessee game. And then fans started seeing the players smoking it, and then on and on and on.
It's the third Saturday in October, the Tennessee versus Alabama rivalry.
If you ask anybody here, they're going to tell you it's the most important game of the season, just because it's the third Saturday in October.
While the teams started playing each other in 1901, the tradition came years later.
It was my whole time in the cigar business, Only once.
In the past 20 years, the Vols have only lit their cigars 3 times.
The fans knew we were going to win. That's why they came out the way they did.
The most memorable when fans rushed the field 2 years ago.
It was just a mad rush to the field. I got thrown over the wall onto the field. I think I twisted my ankle a little bit.
I look back at 22 and we actually doubled our sales. Literally doubled our sales.
In 2022, Smokies sold a cigar that Coach Heupel smoked.
It was actually the Oliva V Meliano Torpedo.
Smokies watched to see what cigars were among the winners in 2022, making sure they were an option for fans when purchasing.
Coach Heupel, the cigar he smoked, the cigar Peyton smoked, the cigar Jalen Hyatt smoked.
All among the list of options this week.
But the question remains, who will be lighting their cigars this weekend? In Knoxville, I'm Grayson Thatcher, Vol News.
Now don't worry, you still have time to get your cigar for the game tomorrow. Now Grayson, Gray, I've got to ask, are you ready? You were at the game. Are you going to this game? What are your expectations for this?
I think I would just like pass out and die if I miss this game. Of course I'm going. I am actually headed to get my cigar after this. I know you're a little bit young, but you can sneak one in.
I might. I'm not going to tell anybody this is TV, so we've got to keep it PG right now.
Thanks, Grayson. Coming up, Tennessee meets Alabama on home turf, but can they do it again? We'll take a look after the break.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
We are the Tennessee Volunteers. People who create connections, push boundaries, do the research that changes lives. We've got world-class academics and championship athletics. To be the best, you gotta learn from the best. And if you wanna lead, you gotta light the way. We've got what it takes. It takes a volunteer.
We've mentioned this just a few times. It's arguably the biggest week of the year for Tennessee fans. Some might even say the most awaited game in history. Alexi?
Yeah, great. The last time Alabama stepped into Neyland Stadium, Tennessee made a run for the history books. The Vols beat Alabama for the first time since 2006, when I was 2 years old and no one knew who Josh Heupel was. A final score of 52-49, senior kicker Chase McGrath's field goal with 2 seconds left in the game ended the Vols' losing streak to the Tide. This came after Hendon Hooker threw a long shot down the field to Brew McCoy with 4 seconds left, a last chance win. So yeah, tomorrow is a big deal. Can the Vols do it again? Now, of course, last year the Vols went to Tuscaloosa with high hopes, but Bama wasn't going to let a win happen on their home field. Vols go home with a 20-34 loss. Embarrassing. Now, looking at both teams this season, we're on a pretty level playing ground. Both teams 5-1 right now with one unexpected, quite frankly embarrassing loss each. On the same night, Tennessee loses to Arkansas and Alabama loses to Vanderbilt, both unranked teams taking down a top 10 opponent. The following week, both teams have a close call and barely slide by with wins. Tennessee beats Florida at home 23-17 in overtime, and Alabama beats South Carolina just 27-25 at home as well. Both teams looking quite the same, which makes it sure to be a close game. Some info you need to know for tomorrow. First off, it will be cold and windy. Dress for a 3 to 4 hour game that could go into overtime. Second, Tennessee Athletics wants the fans to orange out the stadium, just like they did 2 years ago. So if you're going, do your part and wear orange. Kickoff tomorrow is at 3:30 p.m. on ESPN. Be sure to catch Marty and McGee with Tennessee grad Ryan McGee and the rest of the SEC Nation on the Ayers Hall lawn in the morning. Fox Sports says the Crimson Tide is favored to win by 60%, so a lot on the line here. Go Vols!
Go Vols indeed. Thanks, Alexi. Coming up, more communities are coming together to help those affected by Hurricane Helene. We'll show you how the Vol Shop is getting involved. And what resources are available for students and faculty affected by Hurricane Helene? We have the answers to that question coming up next.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
We are the Tennessee Volunteers. People who create connections, push boundaries, do the research that changes lives. We've got world-class academics and championship athletics. To be the best, you gotta learn from the best. And if you wanna lead, you gotta light the way. We've got what it takes. It takes a volunteer.
Today is Friday, October 18th, and welcome back to your Vols 4-day forecast. Starting off the weekend today, there is a patchy frost this morning, but we will have sunny skies this afternoon with a high of 68 and a low of 40 tonight, with clear skies and a calm wind. Moving on to Saturday, we're going to have some good weather for football, with some sunny skies and a high reaching 71 and a low around 42 Saturday night. And the skies are clear, but if you're going to the game and you're going out afterwards, you might want to bring a jacket or layer up. Now on to Sunday, we will have clear sunny skies with a high of 74 and a low of 45 with a calm wind. Ending the weekend and moving on to Monday, we will have sunny clear skies with a high near 76 and a low around 47. The rest of the week is looking to stick around those mid to high 70s during the day and low 40s during the night. So those of you who have 8 a.m.s, you might want to layer up in the mornings. And that is all for your Vols 4-day forecast.
Thanks, Ansley. If you went to the Florida game this weekend, you probably noticed most of the UT Spirit squad rocking new t-shirts. It's all connected to an initiative in the Vol Shop supporting those affected by Hurricane Helene. Our Alexis Brunson has the scoop on these Mountain Strong shirts. Alexis?
Yeah, Gary, those shirts are available in multiple Vol Shops around campus. However, those shirts are not the only thing available with those designs. All of the money collected from the sales of Mountain Strong merch will be donated to charities helping people affected by Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene had a big impact on people in our community.
And as someone who isn't in like a hurricane affected area, I can't even imagine like the devastation that's gone on.
However, that has inspired a surge in the community's volunteer spirit as people have come together to help those impacted.
And you know, that's really what being a volunteer is all about.
And how do victims of Hurricane Helene and the Vol Shop intersect? Well, it's the Mountain Strong shirt. According to the assistant marketing director for the Vol Shop, Corey Ham, it all started with the post from UT football.
Almost immediately, people were commenting like, Ball Shop, you need to get this and have it all go to hurricane relief. So we reached out to a local vendor, Bacon and Company, and they kind of got the process all going.
And now they have decals, shirts, and hats available at 3 Vol Shops near campus.
So it's been really very successful. We're really proud of it.
And are delighting many Vol fans.
I want one of these shirts just because as somebody who isn't affected by the hurricane, I want to show others who are that I'm supporting them.
So, while Mountain Strong on its own might not seem like much, it's directly helping many people in our community as they recover from Hurricane Helene. In Knoxville, Alexis Brunson, Vol News. Of course, if you can't get there in person to support but want to, all of the Mountain Strong merch can be bought online at utvolshop.com.
Wow, that's awesome. Which item do you think has been the most popular?
Actually, according to Ham, the decals will come out on top with 1,800 already having been sold.
That's awesome. Thanks, Alexis. Cleanup for Hurricane Helene is still underway, and we're still covering it for you here on Vol News. For Cassie Kern, a junior here at UT, home is just 5 minutes from Douglas Dam, the reserve on the French Broad River just south of Asheville. As you can see, the dam was overflowing, and although Cassie was not requested to evacuate, she had her 2 dogs and extra clothes packed in her car just in case. She says she is very lucky to have her home after the storm.
I was like, if all this is gone, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Students who need personal or academic assistance can contact the Dean of Students at 865-974-3179. And the Center for Basic Needs is providing ample support and resources for victims of Hurricane Helene. The center has a lot of plans in place in case of disaster, so they were ready when the hurricane hit. They're providing extra food and hygiene products and have increased their stock for the Big Orange Pantry. They also partners with other organizations to provide showers and laundry services to those without access to water. They also plan to work long-term with UT victims of Hurricane Helene to ensure that they get back on their feet.
We're working individually with our community members to make sure that, hey, here's what you need right now, but also what's your game plan for down the road?
Or support to reach out by coming to their office in the Student Union in room 383 or email them at basicneeds@utk.edu. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gray McNichol. That's all we have for you for this week. Stay safe, smoke your cigars, and go Vols.